are you?
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, I'm doing well. Thank God. Thank God, I'm doing very well. Yeah, so we should really thank God we're doing good here. Mashiach is coming.
Yes.
And yeah, this is it. It's like right before Mashiach. It's like the olive, right before the oil comes out, there's like a squeeze, but really it's birthing a new reality. So what's going on? Getting ready for heaven coming to earth. It's not a simple process.
Right. Yeah. But the yeshivas and the seminaries are still open.
Yeah, everything's open.
Okay.
Everything's open. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yep.
Let's hope it goes back to normal again.
Please God. Well, we don't want normal. We want extraordinary. Normal is the animal soul feeling comfortable. Extraordinary is like just living in amazing times,
Wow.
Yeah. Normal is not good. There are a lot of animals that are normal, but it's not the normal that we want. We want it to be crazy amazing.
That's true.
Yeah. Cool. I'm just gonna see if I can. Do you know if this water was from today or not?
I can fill it up.
Yeah, you could?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're gonna start in a minute. I'll wait for you. I'm just gonna give a background intro. So, okay, so let's begin with what we are. I'm very excited about our new series. We had some really very positive feedback about what's going on. We are actually doing the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov. I call this class, what did I call it? The Baal Shem Tov's Transformative Life Tips. So that's what this class is about, the transformative life tips of the Baal Shem Tov. Really, the Baal Shem Tov, of course, as you know, came and he brought a new dimension of reality to reality. He showed us how we are a part of God, and how the world is always in God. Right before, people thought they and God are separate. The world and God is separate. But the Baal Shem Tov said, no, we are actually part of God. And God and the world is part of God. The world would be like God's Torah, as Rabbi Friedman says. It's like a classroom without walls. And our reality, thank you so much. Our reality is a reality of we are the Torah. As the Alter Rebbe said, that he could have gone to Mizrich or to Vilna. In Vilna, he could have studied Torah, but he knew some Torah. So he decided to go to Mizrich because in Mizrich, they make you into the Torah. Right? So that's the goal of the Jew, not that the Torah and you and God are separate, but rather that we're actually one entity. We are pulsating the same heartbeat, right? Just like when you have two people, say ideally a husband and a wife, and they merge and their identities merge, so their souls get together. They become in a way the same person. They have the same heartbeat. So also God and the human being can have a similar heartbeat. Our hearts can beat by the same beat. Okay. And so, of course, it's very beautiful that this book, it happens just to be kind of hashgacha pratis, that it's alphabetically ordered. So A comes before B, and A has in it Ahavas Yisroel. So we're going to learn a lot about Ahavas Yisroel today. These are basically quotes about Ahavas Yisroel. And this is actually a little story. The Baal Shem Tov once said, "Behold, I testify by heaven and earth in a serious judgment in the heavenly court on a person who passed. This person was quite unlearned. He could only say his prayers and the Tehillim, but he was extraordinarily loving. In his thoughts, he would always think about others. In his speech, he would speak with love. In his deeds, he did whatever he could to help everyone. He would feel the pain of every Jew, whether man or woman, and he rejoiced in their happiness. The heavenly court decided that he would have a portion in heaven by the great tzaddikim and scholars, of whom our sages say they are lovers of God." Baal Shem Tov continued, "When a Jew sighs over the pain of a fellow Jew, this annuls all negative decrees. When we rejoice in the blessings of a fellow Jew and wish them well, this is as dear to God as the prayer of Rabbi Yishmael, the Kohen Gadol, in the Holy of Holies." So in other words, to Hashem, what matters most, not how much you know. There's actually a very powerful, a little bit of scary story where the Rebbe once said to Rabbi Chaim Gutnick, he was chief rabbi of Australia, he said that there were three countries. One was a country of Torah. Lithuania had a Torah. Lots of they were dedicated to Torah. The Holocaust came and basically wiped it all out. There was another country. They were dedicated to tefillah, teaching, davening, ba'avodah. And the Russians came and basically didn't wipe it out, but squashed it. But there was a third country, the Jews in America. And they were not such great scholars, and they were not such incredibly great daveners either, but they were very good givers. The Rebbe says the giving that's going on in our generation is more than every generation past. He says, and that country remained untouched. So we see from this that to Hashem, the idea of giving is the most important idea. I mean, that's really what the whole Torah is about. The story that a chassid, I forgot his name, he wrote a very famous book, something about Samarkand. But in any event, he once went to Mendel Futvas because there was a question. They were doing underground schools. These underground schools, they were very dangerous to be keeping. If the Russians found them, they basically killed them. And some of the Sephardic Jews wanted to go to these underground schools. So they asked, should we allow the Sephardic Jews to go? Some people were saying maybe not. So they came to Mendel Futvas, a big chassid. Mendel Futvas said, listen, even if Eliyahu Hanavi comes to tell you not to help a Jew, don't listen to him. Right, so that's the hallmark of the Rebbe, which is help a Jew. Simple. There's a very beautiful story that my father's cousin. So my grandfather came from obviously like a large family, as most people did. And in the Holocaust, I think they were all murdered, except for, he was a young man, he was only 20, but except for he had, Yankele was the son of his brother, and Rita, maybe the other people that are walking around Earth that we don't know, but we know of 3 people. It was Yankele and there was Rita. So Rita, she lived by my grandfather in Crown Heights. And when it came time to get her married, it was a young man, they thinking of a shidduch. The only problem was that in her head, having a sheitel made you into an old woman. It wasn't like today. Today's sheitels are obvious, but it never really helped reestablish that custom. Most people, when my grandfather married my grandmother, one of the conditions was that she would wear a sheitel, even though she was a religious girl. So it shows that it wasn't that popular. Fine. So my grandfather had a problem. He went to the young man because the Rebbe would only officiate at a wedding if the woman wore a sheitel. She wasn't going to wear a sheitel, and he was a young man. He was a Lubavitch. He probably wanted the Rebbe to be the Masada Kedusha and officiate at the wedding.
Why is that? What's so important in wearing a sheitel?
What's so important about wearing a sheitel?
Yes.
I don't know. It's halacha. Halacha is halacha. Don't know. But what I do know is that it's halacha. And in general, tznius is very important. I mean, there's no question that the whole Jewish home, the whole Jewish world, the world itself is based on the tznius of women.
Yeah, the question was as opposed to wearing like a...
Oh, no, that's not the issue. The main issue was that she would cover her hair.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's interesting because by the Sephardim, they don't believe in having a what's it called? Sheitels.
Right.
But the Rebbe was on the contrary. The Rebbe was like pro sheitel. You should have a sheitel whenever you go out. You should go out with a sheitel. I don't know. So it is what it is. In any event, the story is that the Rebbe was not going to officiate at the wedding. So now he had a problem because the girl was feeling like, oh, no one's going to marry me. I'm going to be stuck in Rabbi Weinberg's home as an old maid. And he went over to the guy and said, we have a problem. So the guy says, listen, it's okay. She doesn't want to wear a sheitel. She doesn't have to wear a sheitel. So why? It's a big thing for the Lubavitcher to say that. It's not a small thing. And he was giving up the Rebbe being Masada Kedusha. He said because the Rebbe told him his father recently was the yahrzeit of the Hebron massacres. Today is actually a very sad day. It's the funeral of the 6 hostages that were murdered. May God murder all of the murderers ASAP. Get rid of all the evil in the world. If he wants, he could transform all the evil to good, whatever he wants. But it says, Kate Sam L'Cheshach, that God made an end date to darkness. Darkness has to end.
Murder the evil.
Murder the evil. Even better. Absolutely. So the sum total of truth is that the Rebbe said to this guy who later became, so it's my father's cousin, so I guess my first cousin was removed. He said, Ahavas Yisroel, to love a fellow Jew means to love every single Jewish man and woman and child, and to do whatever you can to help them. So he said, the Rebbe taught me what Ahavas Yisroel is. So, if this is her condition, so I'm going to have Ahavas Yisroel, and I don't require her to wear a sheitel, and we're going to go. And when she heard that he was ready to forgo wearing a sheitel because of Ahavas Yisroel, she said, well, listen, if he does Ahavas Yisroel, that I don't have to wear a sheitel, I'll do Ahavas Yisroel to him, and I will wear a sheitel. So she wore a sheitel because of Ahavas Yisroel. They had beautiful children and a beautiful story. So, what do we find? The Baal Shem Tov says, again, repeating this, when a Jew sighs over the pain of a fellow Jew, this annuls all negative decrees. When we rejoice in the blessings of a fellow Jew and wish them well, this is as dear to God as the prayers of Rabbi Shmuel, the Kohen Gadol, in the Holy of Holies. You want to be a Kohen Gadol? All you need to do is be kind to a fellow Jew. Fact, interesting story. I met a guy. I don't know. He told me about his inventions, microwave, whatever it was. But one thing I know for sure is he got shot down over Egypt in the 73 war. He got hurt. After the war, they do prisoner exchanges. And he came to Toronto, Canada. And over there, he had operations. Meanwhile, the Rebbe hears about this guy. The Rebbe asked that he should come visit him. So interesting, first of all, it's a very rare thing. The Rebbe should ask for somebody to visit him. That's number one. Number two, when he came in, the Rebbe said to him, the Rebbe told him his whole history. Maybe he didn't know, he came from Big Rabbanim. Maybe the souls of the parents asked him. So the Rebbe said to him something that I'd never heard the Rebbe say before. Maybe the story is confused, but basically, if the guy's kind of just saying facts as they are, the Rebbe said to him, why are you not religious? It's an interesting thing to say. So he said, Rebbe, when I see the machlokes, the arguments between, Satmar and Lubavitch, between Chassidim and non-Chassidim, he says, I love every Jew equally. Like, I don't want to have problems. I just love everyone equally. So he told me the Rebbe got up, he kissed him on the forehead, and he said, you are the best Jew I ever met. So again, even to the Rebbe, what matters most is the chesed, is the goodness and the kindness that we practice. Ronnie, a question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
Yes.
questions? Any questions from
Yes.
anybody? No questions. Okay. Fine. In other words, what a parent loves most is his children loving and caring about one another. Fine. Let us do the next one. Even the most unlearned Jew has the greatest innate qualities. In other words, we must equally respect all our fellow Jews as they have innate greatness and goodness. Any questions?
Is that saying every Jew, including Talmidei Chachamim, or like respect them as
Right.
There was just a big about.
What?
There was just
Oh,
a
of
big
course,
about-
their whole world, man. It's all about respecting them. Covet is their currency. And Gaiva is their downfall. Okay. I think I need to stand up, to be perfectly honest.
We put it.
I think I'm going to put it on some. Hold on. Should I get these sets of books? Okay. Let me see how that's looking. Okay. Looking good. Fine. So let's continue. Let's see here. Shalom. We follow God's laws. Are we not all Jews? Actually, that's a really good question. So I want to answer that question because you never know when somebody's going to be on and be off. So I'm going to answer that question. So the answer to that question is that no. If we follow God's laws, we are not all Jews. Because actually, God gave two religions on Mount Sinai. The first is to the Jewish people. It's called the 613 mitzvahs in the Torah. So first of all, we're all unique. We're all special. We all have different parts to play in the world, right? The tree shouldn't be a human and the human shouldn't be a tree. Otherwise, there'll be a lack of carbon dioxide or oxygen in the world. We all have to play the role that we're here to play. So generally speaking, the Jewish people are here to be a light onto the nations. It says, "B'ni b'chai Yisroel," my firstborn son Israel. The firstborn son gets a lot of troubles because the parents have to grow them. You're the firstborn. The parents have to grow them in order that they should be the role model to others. In a sense, God did that. But the nations of the world are called Gentiles, and the Gentiles have 7 Noahide laws. Okay, so I'm going to put it into the, if I remember, please God remind me. I'm going to put it in. It's called 7 Noahide laws, Chabad.org/7 laws. And when you do these laws, mainly belief in God, believing that God gave the Torah and He gave these 7 laws. I'm not going to go into a lot. I've done a lot of details, and I have books and stuff like that. But the bottom line is that there are distinctions in this world, and the Jew has to do his mitzvahs, his good deeds, and the Gentile has to do their good deeds, and together we have a beautiful and functional world. Okay? So if you have any more questions on that, you're welcome to ask. Okay, let's continue. So even the most unlearned Jew has the greatest innate qualities. In other words, we must equally respect all our fellow Jews as they have innate greatness and goodness. Now, obviously, this doesn't only apply to Jews, it applies to all people, but this text was written for the Jewish people, so nobody should take offense if you don't see your name there. You can become part of it in terms of acting in that way. Because Chassidus, the inner essence of godliness, relates to all people. It's just that we're referring to the Jewish people. So again, don't take offense if we don't say Gentile, but this is the structure of these sentences, and we can all take lessons from it. So again, even the most unlearned Jew has the greatest innate qualities. Now, this is very important. Baal Shem Tov is saying that there are tremendous qualities within the Jewish person. Sometimes we look at somebody and we're like, particularly if a society becomes corrupt, what are people looking at? What's their bank account? What about their heart? What about the size of their soul? What about their good deeds that they've done, that they will do? A person's greatness, you think about the Germans, may the Nazis, wherever they are, have even more misery. But the point is that what was their ideal person, right? They had this kind of concept in Germany of a Ubermensch, like a Superman, like the best. So their whole thing is baloney, because if you're on an island and you're living alone, do you have to be the best? No, because there's no one to be the best for. So the idea is when a person has this need to look good or be the best, it's actually a pathetic need because they're amongst other people and there's an innate desire in a human to look good. But if you were with yourself, you didn't need, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a good person, but you don't have any concept of a relative bestness. And so the Baal Shem Tov really came to teach us that we respect somebody not because of their qualities. Respect them because innately they're great. Innately we have qualities, right? If I respect somebody because, Van Gogh, he's a great artist, or Beethoven, he's a great composer. So I'm not really respecting Van Gogh, I'm respecting his art. I'm respecting the composition that he made. That's what's great to me. But maybe Van Gogh I could care less about. And that's a very evil way of life, including ourselves. Often we only think we're valuable if we do something which is valuable to others. No, you're valuable because you are great. You have wonderful qualities. You're a great person. Happens to be part of the quality of greatness is that you help people, but it's not a band-aid over a broken ego. It's the real truth of who we really are. Okay. Let us continue. Anybody needs to put the phone on mute, feel free, so there's no background noise. The Baal Shem Tov teaches, this is very important. Probably this is the most famous teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, what I'm going to tell you now. That a neshama, a soul, will come down to live 70 or 80 years for the sole purpose of helping another. You could be in this planet for one reason, because there's another Yid that you are here to help. In general, this pertains to physical needs. So let's say if somebody, God forbid, doesn't have money and you could help him, amazing. But it applies infinitely more so to spiritual assistance. So you have a tremendous gift that you are able to make a difference in this world. And that difference is perhaps the reason you exist. Now, I'll share with you two stories about this. First story is there was a guy that he was listening to a tape of the Rebbe. If those of you that are old enough to remember what a tape is or know what a tape is, yeah. They play tapes in your house.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, still
went
do.
to bed every night with a tape on.
Okay, cool. So the Baal Shem Tov says as follows. Sorry, the Rebbe was speaking about the Baal Shem Tov, speaking about this teaching. He was thinking to himself as he's listening to it in his car, how would I know which mitzvah is my mitzvah? So he is so busy thinking that he actually misses his exit on the highway. So now he has to go back. So he kind of gets off the highway. He's going back kind of more a side road, and he sees an older couple, and the engine is overheated. And meanwhile, in his head is do a mitzvah. It's the reason you exist. So he's thinking, oh, wow, mitzvah. So he goes over, can I help? So they say, well, we're actually on the way to the airport and our car broke down. We don't know what to do. He says, no problem. I'll take you to the airport. They're like, for real? He's like, yeah, it's a mitzvah. I want to do a mitzvah. Okay. And meanwhile, these people, they're so grateful to him. They're like, what can we do? He says, don't worry. I'm going to take care of your car. I'm going to schlep your luggage. I'm going to do everything. Don't worry about it. So the guy says, can we pay you? He says, no. He says, no, we really feel better if we could pay you. So he says, listen, if you really want to do me a favor, do a mitzvah. And at that moment, the man starts to shout, no mitzvahs. Okay, no mitzvahs, fine. So they come to the airport and he takes the luggage. And meanwhile, the guy gets into line with the luggage, but the lady is behind. So she says, listen, I'm really sorry, but we are Holocaust survivors. And after the Holocaust, we decided to give up everything. But for myself, I'll start lighting Shabbos candles. And then the man came by and he kind of quietly said, you know what? I think I am going to start putting on tefillin every day. It's an amazing story because the guy was just thinking about it and it happened to him. Now, I'll tell you another story that I heard from Rabbi Binyamin Zilberstrom. Binyamin Zilberstrom is a very Heilig Yid from Yerushalayim and HaKodesh. And he was told the story by his brother-in-law who saw the story. So it's early in the morning, like 7 a.m. The Rebbe is about to go home, right? He had worked the whole day, had seen people the whole night, maybe catch some shut-eye for a little bit. And as the Rebbe is going home, there's another man that's gotten up in the morning. And he comes to 770, wants to talk to the Rebbe. It was a Litvish Rosh Yeshiva. And he right away goes, and he starts speaking. He has a question. So Rabbi Groner, the Rebbe's secretary, wanted to kind of push him away, like the Rebbe needs to go home and sleep. He didn't sleep all day, all night. So the Rebbe stopped Rabbi Groner, and then he answered the question, or questions. And then he said to Rabbi Groner, listen, it says that a soul can come down for 70, 80 years to do the right thing. So here, maybe this was the thing that my soul came to the world to help that person. So it's a very important concept because most of us look at charity in the secular word of charity. Charity is actually like benevolence. I'm helping somebody. I'm the good guy. They're the poor guy. I'm going to help them. But charity comes from the word tzedek, justice. In other words, Hashem created a world in which there would be circumstances where some people would need help. And then the other people that give help, that is a tremendous mitzvah. That is a tremendous merit for them. Okay. Very interesting. The previous Rebbe said, do you think we can turn on the air conditioning? Thank you very much. The previous Rebbe said that this teaching inspired hundreds of thousands of Jews to genuinely care and uplift, and they dedicate themselves to each other. The Rebbe says that although the Baal Shem Tov mentions only one good deed, it is obvious that after one must come another and another, etc. So we have to be in the consciousness that we're always here to help other people. And if we do that, it's probably the most important thing for happiness in life. Baal Shem Tov was about 5 when his elderly father, the tzaddik Rabbi Eliezer, lying on his deathbed, bequeathed to his son the path and light of Chassidus. Yisroel, my son, fear no one or anything in this world but God himself, and love every Jew without exception from the depth of your heart and with the fire of your soul, no matter who they are or their circumstances. So this is the teaching that became the foundation of Chassidus, which is all about unconditional love. This teaching became the pillar and guiding light of the Baal Shem Tov's life and path. Okay. Let's see here. Let's continue. The Baal Shem Tov revealed the essence of Ahavas Yisroel. Just as this is very deep part, it's very, very, very simple, but very deep. Just as one's love of God is higher than intellect, understanding, rather due to the fact that he is God. You don't understand God. No one understands God. But he's God, so he showed up for his wedding or for his kid's wedding, whatever. Similarly, one's love for Torah is beyond intellectual appreciation. You cannot really, really understand Torah. It's like infinite. Torah is infinite. Similarly, one's love for Torah is beyond.
But it's also like beyond intellectual, like kind of emotional too. Like kind of not only intellectual but enriches your whole life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have a benefit, but in terms of our understanding of it, we can't really understand how it works, but it does work. Similarly, one's love for Torah is beyond intellectual appreciation due to the fact that it is God's Torah. So the person generally loves God, and because they love God, therefore they love the Torah because it's God's Torah. It's like his child. Similarly, one's love for Torah is beyond. Our love for a fellow Jew is not due to innate qualities, rather just because he is a Jew. Love for a fellow Jew should be automatic. Okay, so this is a couple of teachings. As you can see, I'm falling asleep. Maybe it's because I drove back late last night. L'chaim v'levracha. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. Let me check the chat. So it's been a matter of faith. Oh, okay. So we have a question here. Is it to be a Jew a matter of faith or ethnicity? It's both. Being a Jew is kind of an ethnicity. It comes from Abraham. But a person can also become a Jew. They could convert to Judaism. So therefore, it's faith. So on a spiritual level, we'll say it's even deeper than that. We all have a role in this world. And if a person is born as a Jew, it means that their role is to be a Jew. They have a Jewish soul. Born as a Gentile, that means their role is to be a Gentile. They have a non-Jewish soul. So that's kind of the concept behind the mysticism of what it means to be a Jew. Spirit or... Should I judge a Jew by his body or spirit? Okay, so generally speaking, spirit is very important, and spirit remains, but also the good deeds that we do remain, because the good deeds become part of spirit. Everything good that we do becomes part of spirit. Any further questions?
What if you know a Jew that's like doing bad deeds?
You know a Jew that's doing bad deeds?
So like you're kind of supposed to judge him favorably, like always, but like I judge people by their actions, and if his actions are like I don't agree with them, they're hurting people.
Right. I mean, listen, life is nuanced. Life is, I like to say, spirituality is more an art than a science, right? So there's different nuances to it. Like if you're looking at somebody, I don't know, let's see, he's smoking cigarettes, which is a terrible thing to do. But he's not killing me, he's killing himself, right? So do I get angry at him? Well, if I'm angry at him, then that's also a terrible thing to do, right? So I've got a problem now. So the answer is that I have to feel compassion. I have to feel bad for him. And if you truly love someone and feel bad for them, you're like, hey, maybe you should stop smoking cigarettes. Not a great idea. So certainly, 90% of the time at least, um, your approach should be an approach of compassion. On the flip side, sometimes the issue, like we have now, we've got terrorists. The terrorists want to kill you. And there's a big problem in the West. We're weak to evil. So again, it's not looking at the evil and saying, I hate you, or you make me afraid or something. But it's looking at the evil and recognizing that this is a cancer. Like a doctor doesn't look at a cancer and say, oh, I hate you, I want to kill you. But he says, I'm going to kill you. Because if not, you're going to kill somebody else. So there has to be so that's what I'm saying. It depends. It's nuanced. There's a time for everything. Understand? Okay. Be well, everybody. Wow, I don't know why I got so tired.